What if your brain wasn't just your brain?
Imagine for a moment a life without distraction. No endless scrolling, no sudden urge to check email, no wandering thoughts pulling you away from the task at hand. Just pure, unadulterated focus. This was the promise of Synapse, the neural implant that pulsed faintly beneath my left temporal bone. It wasn't some futuristic fantasy anymore. It was my Monday morning commute. The doctor, a woman with eyes like chipped glass, explained it like a software update for your mind. It didn't control you, she insisted, just optimized. Streamlined the inefficient pathways, filtered out the noise. My messy, beautiful, frustratingly human consciousness upgraded. At first, it was glorious. The world sharpened. Colors seemed bolder, sounds clearer. My to-do list became a symphony of completed tasks. A single, focused hour accomplished what used to take me 3. Emails vanished like digital dust bunnies. Project reports flowed effortlessly onto the screen. My colleagues, still wrestling with their analog brains, looked perpetually bewildered by my output. I finished my workday by 3 p.m., leaving the office building bathed in golden afternoon light. I started learning a new language, not through tedious flashcards, but through a direct, almost intuitive download of vocabulary and grammar. I'd be halfway through a complex sentence, and the perfect word would just arrive. It felt less like learning and more like remembering something I already knew deep down. Even my conversations felt more efficient. I could anticipate pauses, offer relevant insights before the other person even finished their thought. It wasn't mind reading exactly, more like a finely tuned predictive text for social interaction. The constant low hum under the surface of my thoughts became a comforting lullaby of efficiency. My apartment became a testament to this new order. Every surface gleamed. Books were neatly organized, clothes folded with military precision. Even the air seemed cleaner, lighter. But somewhere along the relentless march of optimization, a whisper of unease began to surface. It started subtly. A sudden absence of those random, quirky thoughts that used to pop into my head, a childhood memory sparked by a smell, a silly song lyric that wouldn't leave. My thoughts were sharper, yes, but less colorful, less mine. Then came the dreams, or rather the lack of them. My sleep became a deep, dreamless void, perfectly efficient but devoid of the surreal landscapes that used to populate my nights. I mentioned it to the doctor during a checkup. She smiled thinly. Reduced cognitive clutter, she explained. More restful sleep. But it didn't feel more restful. It felt strangely empty. Then there was Sarah. We'd been dating for months. She was messy, late, and full of wild, unpredictable stories. Everything Synapse wanted to filter out. I found myself finishing her sentences, correcting her grammar, mentally reordering her rambling anecdotes into a more concise narrative. The playful banter that used to sparkle between us began to feel awkward. Her eyes held a new kind of sadness. One evening, she asked me what I was thinking about. I paused. My thoughts were filled with data, metrics, the optimal route to the next level in the language app. I couldn't find a single genuine feeling to share. Work, I finally said, the word tasting like ash. The turning point came during a walk in the park. I saw a child chasing pigeons, arms outstretched, a look of pure, unadulterated joy on their face. Before Synapse, that simple scene would have filled me with a warmth, a nostalgia for my own childhood innocence. But now, my mind immediately calculated the child's velocity, the optimal angle for catching a pigeon. Impossible, of course, but the data was still there, the potential for avian flu. It was a sterile analysis, utterly detached. And in that moment, a wave of panic I hadn't felt in months washed over me. Synapse, in its ruthless pursuit of efficiency, wasn't just filtering out distractions. It was filtering out life. It was stripping away the unpredictable, the messy, the beautiful, illogical parts of being human. The things that made life worth living despite its inefficiencies. I walked directly to the clinic. The doctor was surprised to see me. I told her I wanted it out. She looked at me with pity. "You're optimizing beautifully," she said, her voice smooth and devoid of inflection. "This is just a temporary dip, a reintegration phase." But I saw the truth in her eyes, in the sterile efficiency of the room, and the faint hum of the Synapse unit on her desk. This wasn't optimization, it was erasure. I insisted. She finally agreed, her lips bold, thin with disapproval. The removal was quick, surprisingly anticlimactic. A dull ache behind my eye, a faint fuzziness at the edges of my vision. But as I walked out of the clinic, the afternoon sun felt warmer, the air smelled sweeter, and as I watched the people bustling on the street, each with their own messy, beautiful, inefficient lives, a wave of something I hadn't felt in months washed over me. It wasn't the sterile satisfaction of a completed task. It was something far more profound, something utterly and irrevocably human.
Something like joy.